All right, ladies and gents, massive round of applause to show our love and support. And you may be seated. All right, let's hold hands. Let's do it. Good to go. Do we need to be here or that way a bit? Perfect. Cool. All right, team, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, it is with great pleasure and excitement that I welcome you to the wedding ceremony of Blake and Nicole. They are so thankful that you've joined them today, and for those that couldn't make the journey, I think those in attendance are also quite thankful because your drink quota per person has now increased, so you can all have an extra drink or 3 on their behalf. My name is Daniel Del Borello, and I'm duly authorised by law to solemnise marriages according to law, and as you can tell so far, I'm not your typical old lady celebrant. The bride and groom have listened to today's ceremony. And since Blake is a writer, you have no idea of the pressure that I've been to write his wedding, so I've got him to proofread, edit and spell check for me as well. Talk about pressure. Writing for a writer, I hope I do right and it's not a write-off, so right to it. Hashtag alliteration, that's for them. So, knowing they've heard it, let's have a laugh with them as we hear the funny parts as well as the romantic stuff as well. Laughing does make you 70% more attractive to the opposite sex. So, Blake must have laughed a lot because he's definitely batting. And we're away. So, Nicole is the Hamish to his Blake. Together, they share a fun, supportive relationship that fits seamlessly together like a soft cover on a paper-bound book. So, where did the foreword of this love story begin? Well, instead of swiping pages, they were swiping profiles. After matching on Tinder, they organised a date at Perth's most romantic location, the Gate in Coburn. Nicole remembers that Blake was extremely cool, calm and collected, whereas all Blake could remember is that she was extremely blonde and short. While it wasn't love at first swipe for either of them, they did feel a real connection. This meant that the Coburn Gate had unlatched itself to swing open to a path which slowly led to a few more dates and eventually ended at Nicole's house where they shared their first kiss. So from there they teed up a second date at an even fancier place than Coburn, the Inglewood pub, after seeing a fringe show. Now, the fringe show they saw was probably a musical, knowing Blake, but if their story was a fringe show, the title would be The Singlehood of Inglewood, but not quite ready to mingle good. So after Fringe, they went back to the Inglewood with some friends, where Blake was able to assess how Nicole was around his mates when they were drunk. I know that in America, Inglewood is a rough area where gangs do initiations by smashing their friends. At Blake's Inglewood, the initiation was seeing how Nicole was around his friends as they were smashed. Nicole held her own, and from that moment things gathered momentum where the two of them became a mini gang. Hashtag hug life. Even though this was all happening towards the end of COVID, Nicole wanted to lock down this guy. So she began to put a little pressure on him around their status, casually asking, like, what are we? Sorry, that's my Nicole voice. I just realised. Sorry, just what are we? What are we? And she was letting him know in no uncertain terms that she liked him. Nicole was putting the pressure flame on too high, or if we bring this full circle to where they first met, you could say she was putting the heat on so much that she really started to make Blake's Coburn. All right. Everyone here can spell. No Victorian or South Australian is going to understand that. So even though Nicole knew early on that he really was different to the others, Blake was a little more hesitant. She kept his texts as receipts though, where early on Blake informed her he wasn't going to go to the Inglewood every Friday night. He needed to focus on his book and his boxing. So I think 2 out of 3 of them have stayed true, because I haven't heard of an upcoming fight with Tommy Fury anytime soon. However, Blake finished the text saying he supposed he could see her on a Sunday. I got to admit, that's almost perfect game there. Just give her a little foreshadowing and tease a good ending. But Nicole pounced on the opportunity to invite him to dinner with two of our bridal party today, her bridesmaid Leah and his groomsman Sean, who had heard all about this mysterious book writing, pub hopping, knockout bloke, but hadn't met him. After sharing a meal that night, Blake never left. He told me it was only because he really liked Sean and Leah and didn't want to lose them as mates. From that moment, their lives have merged perfectly, even though they're both Perth drivers. Well, actually, with Blake's heritage and last name being a Scrabble player's wet dream, and Nicole, a northern-born country driver, they probably can actually merge. While speaking of their heritage, they did want to take this special time to publicly thank their parents, both here and with us in spirit, for showing them how to live their best lives and fulfill it with each other. They rarely argue, and if they do, it's never harboured or carried, and they love how they can always be themselves and share their adventures, both joyful and difficult, together. It was during one of the difficult times when Nicole lost her mum that really cemented their bond. Blake was her biggest support and was by her side every step of the way. Nicole told me that Blake was her rock during this period, so it's beautiful that he's been able to put that rock onto her ring today. He checks in with her every day, and when she's down, he's there to lift her up and vice versa. She loves how he has given her his endless support, his laughter, and most importantly, introduced her to lots of new sports. Mainly soccer, which was, I think, well planned because Blake managed to sneak in a tour of Chelsea's home ground when they were in London, and then introduced her to darts, which he's now had to sit through 180 times. Outside of sport, she admires his focus and drive and appreciates how generous, kind and warm he is to all those around him. It's not uncommon for Blake to surprise her with dinners and date nights at home. I love that she finds it romantic, but we all know the real reason he plans romantic things at home is so he can be closer to the TV for the sports channel. She'll never forget when Blake planned a trip away for her birthday and booked all of the accommodation around the things she loved, like outdoor spas, baths, wine and delicious restaurants. He wrote up an itinerary for each day and had her best friend surprise him for a few nights and a wine tour. If that's not enough, he brings her a sweet treat anytime he goes shopping and surprises her with flowers every now and again. I need to find myself a Blake. Blake loves that Nicole was always coming up with extravagant, crazy-ass ideas, and he's right there for it, riding shotgun. He revels in her adventurous spirit and relishes the excitement that she brings into his life. It's a quality that he wakes up to every day, feeling like he's about to go on a new quest, even if the journey ends up taking a full day to figure out what they're going to have for dinner. Blake thinks everyone at his wedding would agree that Nicole shines and radiates kindness, joy, and fun in every direction that she faces. He loves this about her and feels so lucky that he is the person that gets to bathe in those rays every day of his life. To make sure it was for the rest of his life, he needed to plan his proposal. They say that pressure creates diamonds. In Blake's case, it was seeing how strong, vulnerable and resilient Nicole was through the toughest time of her life that made him know that he was going to produce a diamond just for her. He wanted to be by her side no matter what life threw at him, and Blake held her mum's hand just before we lost her, promising that he'd look after Nicole for the rest of his life. When the day came to live up to that promise, it was completely unexpected and caught Nicole off guard. She was a team leader for child protection and had a hectic day coordinating kids and had an event that she needed to rush home to for that night. Now, Blake told me that she had a facial booked that night, which made me think, wow, is that an event? These guys are naughty. Right? But it was with her maid of honour at a beauty salon, and Blake had worked in tandem with her to cancel it for the surprise. So that's why I tell everyone they've read the ceremony. So as she walked through the door, riddled with stress, she was met with flowers and a picture of them together, with Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up, blasting on the speakers. This is the first time I've ever heard of someone rick-rolling their partner during a proposal. She thought it was a big thank you from Blake for helping with his book launch and kept moving through to the bedroom. She was greeted by their dog Oliver with a bandana on that said, "Will you marry my dad?" and Blake waiting with a ring. Yeah, to which Nicole replied no. So, maybe because she called Blake daddy, not dad, or didn't want to marry Oliver's dad because he's a cavoodle, but then it all clicked and she realised what was going on and said yes, and all the delayed joy and emotions came through. They announced the news to their friends and family at Blake's book launch, which was initially called The 5 Pillars of Rewarding Life, but he had to add a 6th after getting engaged. So from a book launch to blasting off into marriage, we're going to make this official. All right, you ready? This is from the government. Here we go. Before you are joined in marriage in my presence and in the presence of these witnesses, I'm to remind you of the solemn and binding nature of the relationship into which you are now about to enter. Marriage, according to law in Australia, is the union of two people, to the exclusion of all others, voluntarily entered into for life. So these are the I do's. So Blake, you're going to go first. Blake, do you promise to love Nicole as much as you love sport? Make sure she takes priority over the only other lady in your life, Chelsea, because Nicole is the real keeper. Let her have the TV remote when sport's not on. Learn how to hang the washing up properly. Keep being the genuine, warm person you are, and always be the driven, generous and compassionate partner she's fallen in love with from this point forward.
I do.
Nicole, do you promise to love Blake as much as you love rewatching the same shows over and over? Learn how to catch things other than feelings for Blake. Pretend to be interested in whichever sport gets you the best travel holidays. Always be the joyful, resilient person you are, and continue to be the grounded, adventurous and radiant partner he has fallen in love with from this day forward.
I do.
That's one. All right, team, we're about to do our vows. So, who wants to go first? Did we discuss that? Do you want a paper, scissors, rocket? Or someone? You want to go first? Cool. Good. Okay, you'll go first? Don't have a fight. You're not married yet. All right. So, Nicole, if you're going to go first, I'm going to give Nicole her vows. The rings? Yeah, cool. So, I'll explain what's going to happen. Cool. So Nicole's going to read her vows. Once she's finished her vows, we'll give her a clap because public speaking's real tough. I'll grab the vow book and the microphone, and then our groomsman, or best man, is going to bring the ring out, chuck the ring on like a finishing move, and then we'll clap again, and then we'll repeat. Cool?
I call upon the persons here present to witness that I, Nicole Lorraine Howlett, take you... Blake David DeVos Tot Nedevine couple to be my lawful wedded husband. You are my favourite part of waking up, of coming home and saying goodnight. I promise to never stop being grateful for you and for the life that we've created together. I promise to always tell you that I love you and that I admire you, and to support you in everything you do. You are the reason for my happy days and comfort in my sad. You cheer my successes and provide me with support when I am down. Thank you for always putting up with my hangry outbursts and for collecting my Uber Eats when I am dying on the couch. Thank you for always opening containers when I can't or can't be bothered. Thank you for putting up with my endless love of reality TV shows or watching the same shows over and over. Thank you for always saying yes to our adventures, and I can't wait to see what our future holds. You've helped me through what was the hardest period of my life. Through the dark days, you always kept me going and held me through. You are patient and kind, you are caring and warm, and you're my favourite person to navigate through this crazy thing we call life. I promise to always love and care for you, to let you believe that you are Oliver's favourite, to continue to show some form of interest in whatever sport you're watching, to be your biggest cheerleader and to be by your side to watch you achieve your goals, to be your biggest support and to pick you up when you need, and to always be your best friend. I promise to always love you, to always be by your side, your partner in life as husband and wife. Saying yes to forever with you is the easiest decision of my life. I love you.
Yeah, left hand, yep. All right, first one's on. Round of applause for our first lot of vows. Well spoken. Same thing in reverse. Nice and close you go.
I call upon the persons here present to witness that I, Blake David Devostot Nedavin Kapul, take you, Nicole Lorraine Howlett, to be my lawful wedded wife. Today is not the day we say I do, but we do. No matter what it takes, we'll do it together. We'll ride through every wave while I promise to steady you when the waters are rough, keep you grounded when the tides rise, and always be your safe place to dock. They say vows are solemn promises to do specific things, but I want to let you know that these promises aren't boundaries, but the depth of our journey we'll share together. My sole promise to you is that we'll navigate our future with us in mind, knowing that whatever lies ahead will always be aligned. There is living life, and there's living life with you. We've built such an amazing foundation, and I cannot wait to dive into the known and unknown, knowing we'll be in it together. You have an aura about you that puts the Northern Lights to shame, and I promise to cherish, protect, and uplift that light, never allowing it to dim. You are the most incredible human I've ever met, and no vow, promise, or words could capture how much I love you. The world is our oyster, and my biggest vow is to always share the last one with you.
Alright, second one's locked in, team. Round of applause for both of their vows. Alright, in a moment we are going to have their first kiss, but it's going to be as officially husband and wife, so we're not going to kiss yet. We're going to go over and do the paperwork. So can we have the two witnesses, the big sisters, to sign the marriage certificate? We'll get the band to play a song while we wait. It'll only take 5 minutes, so if you want to stretch your legs, you can. Other than that, can we give our support team a round of applause? These guys a round of applause, and we'll see them hook up in public in 5 minutes. You guys good with your lips? Alright, cool. So I'm just going to do a little short bit and then we'll get them to celebrate with a kiss. So, our beautiful newlyweds are proudest of facing the hard times together and growing stronger through it. They'll continue to celebrate the big wins, the holidays, the book launches, and all the other cool stuff that comes their way with a renewed sense of deep and true appreciation for life's good times. In the future, they wish to keep building on the foundation they've laid so far, always have each other's back and evolve as individuals and a couple. They know they're going to kick more goals than Chelsea ever could, as long as they're a team. So we'll get the strings to softly play some music underneath, so it's like a rom-com when they kiss. So I'm pretty nervous about this, but I heard him say his last name, Devostot Nedavin Kapul, so it was like a song, so I've memorised that for this next bit. So team, from your first kiss after the Sundays only rules to down south, Blake, I invite you for the first time as our husband to kiss the bride. Ladies and gents, please be upstanding as I present for the first time as husband and wife, Mr. and Mrs. Devostot Nedavin Kapul. Congratulations, guys. And give it up for their bridal party and their support team with them all day.